Well, howdy there. I had the extreme pleasure of seeing the new Errol Morris film, Tabloid, this week. I thought it was fantastic. I'll give it a 9. Errol Morris is one of my favorite filmmakers. He's probably the documentary filmmaker. I mean, certainly probably Michael Moore could compete with him. Werner Herzog could compete with him. But I think Errol Morris has got it. He's been making movies since the late 70s. He's an uncompromising filmmaker. His works are always a singular vision. It's always an event to me when an Errol Morris film comes out. So I was extremely excited to see this film. And it's very good. It's about, boy, I wish I could remember her name, Joyce McKinney. I can't, what was it, the 70s? I can't remember the decade. She falls in love with a man. He's a Mormon. He becomes a missionary for the Mormon Church in Britain. He goes to Britain to be a mission for the Mormon Church. She follows him. She kidnaps him, ties him to a bed for 3 days, has sex with him for 3 days. They fall in love. He's then taken back to the Mormon Church, and she is arrested for kidnapping. That, in a nutshell, is what it's about. But as with any other Morris film, it's about a lot more. And you can watch Errol Morris films as many times as you want, and there will be a new level. There will be something else there to see, and you will think about things in the film differently than you have before. I have to say that I don't think, I hate to use the term just because it sounds so effing snobby, but it's maybe a lesser Morris. You know, it's not fast, cheap, and out of control. It's not the fog of war. It's not the thin blue line. But it stands alongside, I mean, those are 10s. You know, the guy consistently puts out 10s, and you can forgive him for maybe, putting out a 9 or an 8. That's still a work of greatness, in my opinion. I would say maybe his least appealing film to me is Dr. Death, the trial of Harry Luchter. I would say this is pretty much on that level, and I think a little bit above it. Again, any Errol Morris film, if it says directed by Errol Morris, it's a great film. So I feel like I'm nitpicking, but I guess I kind of have to for the purposes. One thing I think that may have detracted from this is a slight overuse of graphics. I know what you're saying. I mean, Errol Morris practically invented the way we do documentary graphics, at least defined them. And here he's doing what he does, and maybe just a little too much of it. But then I argue with myself, and I say, but this is a tabloid subject, and tabloids are flashy and eye-grabbing, so I think he's meeting that subject matter with style. Also, I think the thing that makes Errol Morris a next-level artist is he perfectly displays neutrality. He is always, always, always neutral. That's what defines his films. He somehow has no editorial comment at all in his films. And he's made films about a doctor who says the Holocaust didn't happen. He made his mark, and with, I think, his first film, Gates of Heaven, which is basically about a pet cemetery. And all the time, you're meeting these people who care for their pets, who've buried their pets, who've had their pets stuffed, taxidermied, and you don't know whether he genuinely loves or cares for these people, or genuinely thinks they're nuts, and the entire film is sarcastic. It walks a thin line right down the middle, and you can't tell, so it's left up to you. It's left up to your mind and decision, as a documentary should be. A documentary should present facts with very little to next to editorializing. If that's then it becomes propaganda, and that's why I hesitate to say Michael Moore with names like Errol Morris, because Michael Moore is a propaganda filmmaker. He is out to express his ideas, which I would say a lot of people agree with, intelligent people agree with, but it's propaganda nonetheless. And even though it's sharply made and wonderfully constructed, it's still propaganda. Errol Morris has never done anything that touches propaganda. Here, I think it's a little less that way. Joyce McKinney is such an outlandish character. I mean, she carries the film. She's the star of the show, and she knows it. She is a captivating character, but I did find that maybe even Errol Morris thought that she was slightly ridiculous, and that comes across. And I think I support that with saying that Joyce McKinney is picketing this movie. She's going to screenings and yelling. She does not like the film. She does not like the way she was portrayed. So I think that maybe, he gets a little more editorial with this. But then again, maybe not. Because, maybe it is just her. She believes in herself so intensely that, again, maybe it is just my feelings and I'm transferring them to Morris. Or there's a better word than transfer. I can't think of what that word is. Anyway, I hope that kind of made sense. It really, I mean, it really makes you think. It really makes you think. It's very deep. I mean, it's an excellent film. It's an excellent film, like any Errol Morris, and I do feel that it should be seen on the big screen. Big screen documentaries, I know you don't necessarily have to, but boy, it's just wonderful seeing all of the work he does, all the special effects, I guess you could say. It tells about, it's about a lot, I almost need to see it again. It demands a second viewing. But it's definitely about the nature of obsession, the obsession of man and woman, of love, of society on a story. Before I forget, because I might, you've got to stay till after the credits. You don't have to stay till the end of the credits just in comic book movies. You can stay till the end of the credits in documentaries too. And if you stay till the end of the credits at an Errol Morris film, you will be rewarded, as is the case here. Perhaps the creepiest, weirdest thing in the movie is after the credits. That's all I'm going to say. But it's definitely about the nature of obsession and why we're obsessed. Again, it's, multi-level, storytelling here. I definitely want to see it again. I probably won't in the theater. I'll rent it, certainly. But it's really, really good. I thought I had a point, more of a point than I'm giving. I can't remember. But again, it's just very complex. It's a complex story. It's a complex subject. And Errol Morris is a complex filmmaker. So again, it almost demands a second viewing for you to be able to crack it, I think. But again, the nature of obsession and love, and all of the people you meet and talk to are really good, really intelligent, the tops of their field in terms of tabloid reporting. So it gives you definitely gives you an insight into a world you may not know anything about. So that's always good too. I really don't know what else to say. I had a great time at the movies watching Tabloid. But I always have. Errol Morris, again, one of our great filmmakers, period. So that's Tabloid. It's a solid 9. Can't wait to see it again. Thanks.